All right, so it is a snowy night. It's January 22nd. Right now we probably have about 1.5 inches on the ground. It's only been snowing for about 2 hours. So what better things to do than try to get the blade hooked up to the old Farmall Cub. So I don't want to put it out front because it didn't really push that good when it was out front. It just spun the tires. So what I'm hoping is by putting it on as a greater blade, hopefully it'll put a little more weight on the back end and it should push a little better. So I've stripped off the plow attachments, and I do have to utilize this bracket here for the drawbar on the back. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to extend the steel. I have some box tubing here. I'm not sure how tight that's going to be, but we're going to make some extensions for the back tubes, the backlink tubes, and probably just pin them somehow, make it so it pins in there, and that way don't have to alter anything. I can still put it on the front if I need it on the front. And then I've seen on the internet how these guys are just hanging a chain off of here to lift the blade. So that's where we're at right now. Just have it sitting underneath there, trying to figure out if I should have it up there, and you know how that'll be when I angle it for the front tires. So that's what we're working on. All right, guys, so we're going to take a look outside. Not sure how well this camera will do in the dark, but it's January 23rd. It's about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and the snow has returned. We had snow last night. It turned to rain, and now it's turned back to snow again. So we're currently working on getting the blade mounted to the tractor. Last night I showed you whereabouts I wanted it. Tonight I'm a little closer to where I want to be. I'm going to mount a bracket right there so that the lift arm can pick that up. I've added some extensions to go back to the back, and I had to mount the bracket. Now I am lacking about 2 inches on this 1-inch bar, because this 1-inch bar is what's going to hold those tubes onto this bracket here. I don't know if you can see that bracket. I can move these tubes. So this is the bracket here. These are the tubes that are going to attach to it, and the tubes have to come up a little higher. I just have it there for to see what I have. So as you can see, this 1-inch rod is about 2 inches too short. So that's where I stand right now as far as getting the blade mounted to the tractor. One of the concerns that I do have is I'm afraid of the side thrust. In other words, if I angle this blade a little bit and it starts pushing snow and gets heavy, it's going to want to push that whole assembly over that way, and vice versa. If I tilt it that way, it's going to want to push it this way. I've been trying to look to see where I can maybe attach some chains, and I can't come up with anything, but maybe a chain from here up to the bull gear, and from there over to that bull gear. Not sure, but I'm just thinking that the sideway thrust on this thing is going to be pretty high. So that's where we stand on the snow blade for the Farmall Cub. It doesn't look like it's going to be in operation for this particular snowstorm. Of course, the Bobcat is not quite ready yet. It looks good with the bucket sitting there on the front of it. A typical Redneck. I got it full of stuff already, so that's just kind of sitting there. It doesn't have the hydraulic rams on it yet or anything. I got my generator. It's all ready. Just in case we lose power. Last night the winds were pretty strong. Got about 70 mile an hour winds last night, and the lights flickered a couple of times, but we don't have a whole lot of snow. My dad, he's got 30 inches of snow right now in Pennsylvania, and they're expecting it to snow up until tomorrow night. So Pennsylvania is getting slammed right now. According to Dad, it is the most snow that they've had since 1888, and quite possibly the largest snowstorm that they've had in the history of weather keeping, snow track